The prophecy has officially been fulfilled, with pundits correctly predicting that Carlos Alcaraz would seize this match and become the youngest player in history to secure all 4 major titles. The atmosphere is electric, with experts universally agreeing Carlos is simply on another level right now, playing tennis that borders on the absurd. He embodies the ultimate synthesis of the legends who came before him: the artistic flair of Federer, the sheer physical brutality of Nadal, and the unbreakable self-belief and court coverage of Djokovic. Analysts are already projecting his trajectory, suggesting he could easily surpass 15 slams, as Carlos Alcaraz has just achieved a feat that fundamentally alters the tennis landscape forever. At just 22 years of age, Carlos Alcaraz has successfully hunted down the final piece of the puzzle to complete the career Grand Slam, adding the Australian Open to his collection, alongside Roland Garros, Wimbledon, and the US Open. And he did not achieve this milestone quietly or through an easy draw. He seized history by dismantling Novak Djokovic in a 4-set thriller on the biggest stage of them all, right here in Melbourne. This victory represents far more than just another piece of silverware for his cabinet. It is a definitive declaration that Alcaraz is no longer the future of the sport. He is the undisputed ruler of the present. 7 Grand Slam titles at the age of 22. Let the gravity of that statistic truly sink in. At this exact same age, Roger Federer held 1 major, Rafael Nadal had 2, and Novak Djokovic possessed just 1. Carlos Alcaraz stands alone with 7. However, it is not merely the statistics that are terrifying for the rest of the tour. It is the manner in which he is dominating, particularly looking at how he handled Djokovic in this 2026 Australian Open final without a hint of fear. He refused to play conservatively or wait for the Serbian legend to drop his level. Instead, he took the fight to him from the very first serve, absorbing immense pressure and matching the intensity shot for shot when the stakes were highest. When the match hung in the balance, Alcaraz elevated his game. We are talking about Djokovic, arguably the greatest competitor ever, a man with 24 majors and a history of owning Rod Laver Arena. This is a player who has broken the spirit of entire generations of challengers, yet Alcaraz defeated him definitively, not because Novak had an off day, but because Carlos was simply the superior tennis player. What distinguishes Alcaraz from every other prodigy we have witnessed is his perfect equilibrium. He possesses explosive raw power, but he pairs it with the patience of a seasoned veteran. He produces tennis fit for a highlight reel, yet he understands exactly when to decelerate the rally, capable of hitting through opponents or grinding out 10 to 15 shot defensive exchanges if the situation demands it. Physically, the man is an absolute phenomenon. His foot speed allows him to flip the script from defense to offense in a split second, while his core strength enables him to redirect heavy pace with 0 effort. His endurance is elite, allowing him to thrive even in the most grueling marathon matches. And from a technical standpoint, his game is virtually devoid of weaknesses, led by a forehand that is already one of the most feared shots in history. His backhand has solidified into a rock-solid foundation with each passing season, and his serve, once viewed as a potential liability, has evolved into a legitimate weapon that is very precise and clutch under pressure. Yet it is the mental aspect where the conversation about him becoming the greatest of all time truly gains traction. Alcaraz does not panic, he does not shrink away from the spotlight, and he never rushes when the scoreline gets tight. Whether it is the first round or a Grand Slam final, he operates with the same terrifying clarity, maintaining positive body language, regardless of whether he is facing a break point, a set point, or a championship point. That level of composure is incredibly rare, especially for a 22-year-old, and conquering the Australian Open holds immense symbolic value, as it was the final frontier missing from his resume. Melbourne had previously been the one major that eluded him, presenting challenges with its fast, hard courts and extreme heat. But he has now passed that test with flying colors, proving he can win tactical battles in these conditions. 7 majors at 22 implies he is averaging more than 1 slam per season since his arrival, and unlike previous eras, he is achieving this by defeating all-time greats in head-to-head combat rather than waiting for them to retire. He is battling through a field of prime elite competitors like Djokovic, Medvedev, Zverev, and Sinner. These are not transitional placeholders, but top-tier champions playing their best tennis. The most frightening realization for his rivals is that Alcaraz is still evolving. His shot selection has matured significantly, he is far more disciplined with his drop shots, and his ability to close out matches has sharpened. He is managing his physical energy across the calendar with much higher intelligence, and it seems that with every new season, he unlocks a new dimension to add to his already overflowing arsenal. Provided he remains healthy, which is naturally the eternal variable in professional sports, there is virtually no ceiling on the number of Grand Slams he could eventually amass. To surpass Djokovic's record of 24 majors, Alcaraz would need to average just over one title per year for the next 15 years, a pace that sounds impossible for mortals but entirely plausible for Carlos Alcaraz. He has demonstrated mastery over every surface, proving he can lift trophies in Australia, Paris, London, and New York, meaning his dominance is not reliant on specific conditions or court speeds. His game adapts like water, and while the current tour is incredibly robust, it is not insurmountable. Jannik Sinner is a formidable rival, certainly, but he is not a permanent roadblock to Alcaraz's ambitions. In fact, their rivalry will likely propel both men to historic heights, and while others will certainly snatch majors here and there, Alcaraz does not need to win every single one to build a record-breaking career. He simply requires consistency at the summit, and the timing of his ascent is perfect. Djokovic is still elite, but entering his twilight, Nadal has moved on, and Federer is long retired. The torch is not being passed in a ceremonial gesture. It is being forcefully taken, as Alcaraz is not waiting for permission, but is instead defeating the legends while they are still dangerous enough to win. This is precisely why the debate about him being the future GOAT is no longer premature. It is the logical conclusion based on the trifecta of tennis greatness, talent, longevity, and mentality. Alcaraz already possesses the talent and the mentality in spades, and if his body endures, the longevity will naturally follow, because holding 7 slams at 22 is statistically abnormal and historically significant. Beating Novak Djokovic in a final while chasing history is a career-defining moment, signaling that Carlos Alcaraz is no longer pursuing the history books he is currently writing them. Decades from now, when fans and analysts debate the greatest to ever hold a racket, this 2026 Australian Open final will be cited as the pivotal moment when his dominance became inevitable. Do you believe Alcaraz is destined to finish his career with the most Grand Slam titles in history? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments section, and if you enjoyed this update, please subscribe for more coverage. I will see you in the next broadcast.